Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Thank you for coming to our Stay Healthy at Home webinar series. Going to give it a few seconds to let people filter in. Thank you for coming. We really appreciate you being here. All right. Thank you all so much for being here. Today, we are going to continue our Programs of the ARC of New Jersey webinar series, where we talk about each of the programs that the ARC of New Jersey offers with their services and what they have going on. Today, we are going to be learning about planning for adult life with Jerisa Maseko. Jerisa is a dedicated advocate and director of the Planning for Adult Life program at the ARC of New Jersey. With 17 years of commitment to the ARC and 30 years in the field, Jerisa's journey began in her youth, driven by a personal mission to amplify the voices of those with developmental disabilities, inspired by her aunt's story. Today, she empowers self-advocates, ensuring their rights are upheld and voices are heard. Through workshops and webinars, Jerisa equips families with the resources and support needed for a successful transition into adult life, leaving a lasting impact on countless lives. So I'm very excited to present this webinar. Before we get started, if you are having any sort of technical issues with the audio or the visual, Bianca, Frankie, and myself are here to monitor the chat. Just let us know through the Q&A box or the chat. If you have questions about the webinar presentation, again, you can use the chat box or the Q&A box to present questions. And then, as always, if you would like to register for upcoming webinars, you can do that as well by going to our website, and we'll put that link in the chat box as well. This video is being recorded. You have the option to enable your closed captioning for translation. And this video will be up on our website in a few days as soon as it is done being cut down and edited. So without further ado, I want to welcome Jerisa. Thank you so much for being here, Jerisa. We're very excited to learn about your program.
Well, thank you very much. I actually started my career at the ARC of New Jersey in the Self-Advocacy program. And so I'm always willing to work alongside anyone in the Self-Advocacy program. So let's get into it. Our Planning for Adult Life program actually was birthed out of some changes that took place in the Division of Developmental Disabilities in 2013. They changed their delivery system to the point where individuals were only going to be served if they're 21 and up. When they made this change, a lot of families did not understand all of the changes that took place, one, and what they needed to do in order to qualify for those services. And so, as an advocacy agency, the ARC of New Jersey went to the State House and talked to all of the decision makers and said that families need a way in order to understand this whole process. And there was Planning for Adult Life. It was born out of the advocacy work that families and the ARC of New Jersey and our advocacy partners do in order to provide help to families and individuals. So our state-funded program works with individuals that are under 21. So we start at age 14, working in the school system, as well as helping families and individuals to really chart a life course of what it means to both plan for adult life and what all the decisions that need to be made in the adult system, and understanding what has to happen in order for a loved one to qualify and maintain their life in the adult system. And so it takes us to look at 360 degrees of a person's life. So we want to talk about what kind of employment that is needed. Employment is a huge factor in how a person lives, their status in life. It connects you with friends, it connects you with housing, it connects you with a lot of other social things. And so we work with our students about understanding what is employment, how to get a job, how to keep a job, those different things. We talk about housing, and that's important. We also talk about legal and financial decisions that an individual have to make as they are transitioning from school to adult life. We talk about the entitlement programs and the eligibility. So, with the law being the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, an individual has a right to stay in school to the age of 21. And that's called entitlement program. They're entitled to the special education. But when they cross the bridge to adult life and the adult services, it's all about eligibility. And so, what individuals have to kind of change their mind or think about differently is, how does the disability impact the person's life? And how or what services can or is needed that can help them to have a successful life in the adult system. We also talk about self-direction, making choices, getting information, deciding whether or not the individual can make a decision on their own, if they need help making the decision, or if they would like for someone to make those decisions for them. And that's the person's choice. We also talk about health and behavioral health. It's very important for individuals to think about how they're going to stay healthy after school, because they won't have a gym class after they leave school. So, how can they think about health as well as behavioral health? Thinking about what keeps you healthy, what keeps your mind healthy, and what you need to do that. And with New Jersey Self-Advocacy Project, there's a lot of things that we point individuals to that you already do or have experienced in self-advocacy that can help with that, both healthy body, but healthy mind as well. We also emphasize the building or maintaining of community ties and friendships. It's so important that the individual build friendships and community ties before they leave school. A lot of individuals, when we ask them about who are your friends, who can help you, what's your network, we have them thinking about that. They usually list the people that are in their class or the people that are in school. And as an adult, I can tell you that individuals that I went to high school with, there's a couple that I might be close to, but those relationships change as you leave school. And so you have to be intentional about going out in the community, having the dignity of risk to decide what you want to be involved in. It might work, it might not work, but you at least got to get out there and try it, develop those things. And then we also talk about planning and visioning for your life course. What kind of vacations do you like? What kind of house do you want to live in? What kind of job do you want? What kind of relationship do you want? Do you want to get married? Do you want to have children? All of those things are things that adults have to make a decision about. And so we want to bring those to our students that we work with so that they can have an idea, so that those wheels can start turning and they will have an opportunity to make some decisions. And what you make a decision when you're 14 doesn't mean you have to stay with it until you're 21. It changes, and that's okay. But at least you've explored and thought about what you wanted to do. So what we ask these questions is called our MAPS Club. We meet with students at least twice a month. We talk to the students, we do different activities, and we have them create a binder of what they want and the decisions or answers to those questions that I just mentioned. And they are able to have a formalized presentation from our transition navigators that will allow them to think about that, to ask them questions that will help develop that plan for their life. And we do that both in person as well as we do that virtually with the schools. During the summer, we open the MAPS clubs up to anyone who wants to register for it. It's at no cost, but it's virtually in that, and that individuals can get online and talk with other individuals that are thinking about planning, as well as go through the different lessons that we teach during the summer. We also have a feature of our Making Action Plans for Life and Career, or our MAPS Club, where we do what is called a community exchange tour. This allows individuals to go out in their community and look at the different jobs that they can do. So if you're sitting at a light, you can look at the buildings, you can decide what kind of jobs are in those buildings, what kind of jobs would I like to do in those buildings. And then there's what we do in the community exchange tours is our navigators will meet with the employers and they will give tours. It's no obligation for them to hire anybody, but it just gives them an idea of what kind of jobs are actually in these buildings that I go by every day. And so it's important to know that these are things that are available out there for you. You could do it without us. You don't have to be a part of our Making Action Plans for Life and Career. You can do that for yourself, is to figure out what kind of jobs are out there and explore those kinds of things. Now, that's the piece that we work with the students for. Then what we also do is we talk to the parents. We want the parents to have a strategy of helping them to prepare for their child's adult life. So we advise them to get a team, get information, get a plan, get going, and get feedback. It's important now, while the children are in school, the students are under 21 and they haven't taken the diploma, that they start building this team, that they build a team or network of individuals that can be support for them, individuals that can help them if they need it. I personally was on the team for my friend Danny. We didn't have the same ethnicity. We didn't live in the same town. I didn't work at an agency that provided services to him. The only thing that we had in common was the fact that we had the same birthday. And we met each other at the NJSAP's yearly conference when they were meeting in person. We had a conversation, we had the same birthday, and we started over a 15-year friendship as a team. I was able to go to the hospital with him when his parents weren't able to go because they lived down to the shore, but I was able to go there. I was able to interact with the nurses on his behalf because Danny used a communication board and he was trying to communicate. He wanted to teach them how he talked, but they were unaware of all of what was needed to support Danny. And I was that team member that was there at the hospital to point them in the right direction. And we had information. We had information about what he wanted and those kinds of things. And so I say over 15 years, friendship was formed there, is that Danny passed right before the public health emergency. But I felt as though it was an honor to be a part of his team. And when we went to his services for his funeral, his family finally met me. They had talked on the phone a lot of times with me, and they said, "You're the one that he said, I love you like a sister." And that was such an honor for me. It was so important for me to hear that because I had done my job. I felt like I had done my job when the family was appreciative of what I had done for him. And I didn't get paid for it. I would just, we had our common bond of our birthdays together. And so that's what we want to encourage families to do is to get a team of people. They don't have to be specialized in working with people with disability. They might be somebody that takes good notes. They can be on their team. There might be someone that bakes good blueberry muffins. They can be on the team. There might be someone that has a car that's big enough to fit everybody in. They can be on the team. You want to ask and build your team. Building your team is so important because you're preparing for when your individual needs those supports and you as the parent can no longer provide those. When you build that network of individuals, that team, you can achieve more with it. And then you want to get information. You want to find out what services are out there, what agencies and providers that are there. Don't just look for things with disabilities in the title. You want to look for anything and everything that can enrich your individual's life. Once you've done that, you get a plan. You write it down. You can either go to the $1.25 store and buy a binder and put it in that binder, or you can use, there's certain emails that actually have cloud storage that you can document everything. You want to make sure that you're documenting everything beyond just the services, but what does Tommy like? What does Tommy not like? What does a good day look like for Tommy? What does a bad day look like for Tommy? What needs to happen in order for his bad day to be a better day? Those kinds of things need to be written down. They need to be documented because when you get into the adult system, the staff, they don't really know your individual. They want to do a good job with your individual, but if because they don't know them, they'll have to learn on the job training, if you will, instead of having documentation to say that Maria hates blueberries and things like that. And then you want to get going out in the community, making sure that your individual is participating in all of the things that are out there that they are interested in. You'd be surprised at what kind of groups that your individual will have in common. Did you know that there's an Elvis appreciation group? I didn't know, but I found out that there are Elvis appreciation groups, and it comes from having conversations, getting out there and having conversations. There's pillow fighting and kickball and Legos. There's even a TV show that has adults building things with Legos and winning lots of money. So it's not about whether or not your individual has a disability. What are they like? What are they interested in? And let's find some individuals that have those similar likes so that we can build community up with them. And then get feedback. What's working? What's not working? And let's change it if it's not working. If they achieve their goal faster than you thought, then okay, let's step it up. If they're not achieving their goal as quickly as you thought, then let's change it. Let's dial back and let's figure it out so that it works for our individual. This is our strategy that we want to tell families to use because we've found that when families implement this strategy, they have a lot more success. Here is a copy of Gabby's portfolio. We actually provide our students with those portfolios and all of the different lessons that we teach during the year. We try to teach at least 18 different times with our students. And each year, some students have been with us since their freshman year all the way up until their 21st year. And all of those sheets that are in there has something to do with what their likes are, what their dislikes are, what their challenges are, what their strengths are. All of this is a way to advocate for themselves. It's a way to train the staff that will be working with them in the adult system. So we want to help prepare them for that. And family members, you can do that as well, and just have that conversation and use those tools. We also offer what is called our Webinar Wednesday series. We host these every third Wednesday of the month. We record them and archive them, and they can go onto our website and look under We Offer to access those webinars. And we deal with a whole lot of topics that, families may have not thought of, information that will update them on SSI and Medicaid. We talk about employment. We talk about all of the different aspects that I've talked about so far. We try to have a webinar in that area every year. And we do those monthly webinars so that families can get information. We have a website. We have a help desk on our website, an event calendar. We have online tools, and you can sign up for our e-newsletter that goes out once a month. Archive videos are on there. This is a view of what the updated website looks like. You can go on there and just explore. Feel free to do that. We also offer to our parents, this is the third leg of, I guess, if you would say, of planning for adult life, our hands-on workshops. So what we do is we have workshops both in person and virtually. We offer them virtually as well. We repeat them monthly. So the virtual webinars or workshops are repeated on our calendar on our website. They're repeated every month, that we continue to just have them over and over, because we provide so much information in these workshops that we encourage families to rinse and repeat. The more you hear it, the more things will stick, and you'll be able to understand what needs to happen. We also do those for in-person groups as well. A lot of parent groups have asked us to come out. A lot of schools have asked us to come out. We do about 70 or so presentations every year, and we'd be open. We have a team of navigators as well as myself that would be willing to come out and meet with your groups and to give you the information that we have the different presentations on. So let me give you an idea. Oh, let me talk about the e-newsletter first, and then I'll give you an idea what those presentations are. Our e-newsletter goes out again once a month, and it has news announcements. You can register on our website for our webinars and any events that we're having. You can sign up, and all of our services are free. So one of our presentations is Planning is Vital. Planning is Vital talks about why transition from school to adult life is going to happen, what needs to happen while the individual is in school, that they maximize their entitlement, that they stay in school to the age of 21, that they apply for SSI and Medicaid, and that they apply for DDD services. And we give an overview of the adult system and all of that. We also describe our program to the families so that they'll understand what we do. Accessing services and natural supports. We want to stretch families, again, to start thinking about resources, what their potential sources of support are. We even count in the pets as a support. We want to take a look at where those individuals can be. It might be Mr. John, who has the pizza store, but he has a son that coaches for a baseball team, and your student might be interested in baseball. And so you can make those connections. So that's what this presentation is all about, is creating a plan to identify sources of support for individuals. We have the college options. There's over 240 different programs throughout the United States. that are specifically for individuals with IDD. And we want them to think about all of the things that are necessary to get connected to those programs. There's actually programs here in the counties of New Jersey that are specific programs for people with IDD. We don't do the tours. That comes from our Family Institute because they're allowed to do that. I'm not, because I'm grant funded, allowed to do tours, but we can tell you about the programs. We give you websites that you can do research. We point you to other websites that are resources for you, talks to students that are in college with IDD, talks about the different majors that they can do in college. It also talks to parents that have students that have IDD that are in the different colleges. And so that's what this presentation is all about. I remember that when I was in high school, individuals who were in special education were down the hall, and we never saw them the whole day. They came to school, they left out of one door, they came in one door. When my daughter was coming along, there were buddy programs, and so there were students in special education that were having lunch with other students, with typical developing students, and they were building relationships. And now here we're talking about college as an option for our students. There's a lot of changes that are happening in the world that is opening up to people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And it's at least my job, I take it as my charge to get up on those things and to share that information with families. We also do a presentation about Yes, Your Child Can Work. This presentation talks about the importance of work and the conversations that need to be had with families, and the individual want to set an expectation of what work is, why it's not just to get a check, but it has so many other avenues. It creates a lot more avenues for everybody when a person has a job. And what do you need to think about in order to get a job? What do you need to think about in order to keep a job? And we also talk to parents about having those experiences be given to your student. And so I have a video. I'm hoping that it's going to work here, but I'd like to play a video that we created to help families kind of go through that. So, point of clarification, Frankie, are you going to play it or should I try?
It doesn't look like I'm able to from the shared file, so I think we'll have to see if it works for you.
I apologize if there's any technical difficulties with this. Okay, here we go.
Everyone deserves a chance of being able to have the experience of helping others and gaining perspective to not let their disability hold them back. My parents always dreamed that I would work, but I don't always know if they can work. I really couldn't ask for a better parent than a better family. I'm just really appreciative for my mom and my dad because they really were my advocates when I was younger.
I work at many things. So when I first started my education, it was Victor's Pizzeria and other jobs sampling. Since after I graduated, I continued my employment.
It's important not to automatically assume he can't do something, because I think too often that's the assumption if there's a problem.
Monica has grown up in a household in which all members, including herself, work.
I work at Stop and Shop. I feel excited to work at Stop and Shop. I take Access Link. I work out at Barbara Johnson Fitness Center and at the Special the.
I'm George Vanderbilt.
Where do you work?
Judy's. For 19 years.
I think one should have the opportunity to be employed. It would be a very boring life if he didn't have his job.
I work at He's fun. Being autistic, he is a world-class bookshelver. So he's very good at what he does. I think he feels proud of what he does.
Having a job gives him the dignity of being a part of a bigger world. And he needs the parallel of being around people, even though he's not communicating with them.
I saw everyone else.
That's something that you wanted to do.
Yeah.
I work at Goldstone in East Windsor. I'm a front desk staff.
She's more proactive now than before, whereas before she would just wait for somebody to help her out, but now she takes that upon herself to do that.
Her organizational ability has improved a lot because she's going back and forth between our house and her apartment. It's necessary to have certain things with her at every time. So she knows what to pack.
One of the things that my mom has always reminded me of is that independence is state of mind and not really a state of physicality. My disability has really been a blessing in my life because I feel that if I didn't have a disability, I wouldn't have been able to do all the wonderful things that I'm doing now.
The more job sampling you can do, the better.
Yeah, job
because
sampling.
it exposed them to so many different jobs. I think it is a very scary thing, but I think until you do that, you're depriving them of an opportunity to grow, to be a part of their community.
Picking him up, I'd be a little early, I'd be looking around for him in stacks. And I would see him just working, totally focused, totally on task. And that would make me very proud. That forces him to develop skills and capacities that he might not otherwise develop because it's too easy being with your family. But if you're on the outside, if you have to be dealing with people on the outside, it brings out those things that were always in him.
Albert Einstein said, life is like riding a bicycle. To keep your balance, you must keep moving. And I would say the journey to employment is the same. It does not stop when you graduate. It does not stop when you get your first job, but you should look to ways to grow.
And don't let your disability or any condition that you might have get in the way of your dream to be employed. And don't use it as an excuse not to.
You have to be patient and you have to continue to be active.
Pick a star and follow it, and let your dreams be your guide, and make sure that boss doesn't improve you because you're on the star and you need to keep working. Never let the boss down.
You should do it. Have more independence to do everything myself.
And I think that if the parents help the child to utilize their disability in a positive way, then their disability can even have a positive impact on their spirit and how they influence others. And if I can do it, you can do it.
So I want to bring your attention to a couple of things that were mentioned in the video. One, that the father said that it's too easy being with the parents. It's easy because the parents you've known your individual for all of their lives. And so there's lessons that you've learned and all of that, but there's a dual learning that happens when an individual is out in the community. He phrased it as on the outside, individuals on the outside interacting with them. People learn about people with disabilities and dispel the different stigmas that are associated with people with disabilities. And people with disabilities also learn about the world and dispel some of the different stigmas that have to do with typical developing issues. And so it's important, again, to get out there and to explore what's possible. And George, I always mention him. He worked at Chili's. He developed some natural supports with his coworkers that they would set up for him. And as a thank you, George would always make sure that his access link would stop by and get a coffee and bring to the person that set up his job for him. And that's without a job coach. That's just building relationships with individuals. And he's been there now for 25 years. So this video is a little dated, but longevity, right? Another one of our presentations is getting the most out of your high school experience. We do these mostly for the middle school parents, freshman parents, where we talk about the importance of creating that planning portfolio. We also provide mile markers of things that we want them to notice, that at the age of 14, there needs to be a conversation in the IEP. At the age of 16, there needs to be goals that are written in the IEP. All of the different things that the mile markers, as I mentioned, that parents will kind of need to know and check off as their child is progressing through their high school experience. We like to provide those for them. We have a other list of other presentations here that we also provide, like we talk about SSI and Medicaid, how to apply and why you need to do so. We go through it very thoroughly to look at all of the things that parents need to do before they apply for SSI and Medicaid. We go through what they need to do with the application, what needs to happen after the application is submitted, and some other things of if there's any changes that need to be made, we try to provide that information. We also talk about guardianship and supported decision making. We also talk about alternatives to guardianship in this presentation. We give out resources and different things like that regarding that. We ask that families don't assume that their individual needs a guardian. We take them through what is called the practical tool, and we have them actually deliberate on what are their concerns, how can their concerns be addressed, and leaving guardianship at least before a judge as the last resort. We talk about all of those things in that presentation. We also have what is called the SOS, the strategies. It should be of success, strategies of success, SOS. And really, this is for individuals who don't need necessarily so much support and probably won't qualify for DDD services. We talk about there's some things that you have to prioritize while they're in school, things that they have to do in order to still set their individual up for a more successful life. We also talk about housing. We do the basics. We talk about the options and being creative when it comes to housing and what families have done in the past and what they're doing now and what some options that parents can do. There's also a self-advocacy piece that is done by a sister agency. They're a co-grantee with us that they do a couple of presentations as well. And with that, I want to also say that anybody can go onto our website and do the Got Plans guide. We have it available that anyone can go onto our website, sign up, download the guide. That guide is called Got Plans. We allow families to use this as a conversation starter for all of the things that we've talked about before this. There's also going to be what is called Time to Travel brochure that's going to be added on to that. And we're working currently on videos to accompany that document. But there are videos, as you can see, are Bitmojis of some of our team members that walk individuals through this particular guide of Got Plans. And so they can sign up and watch those videos. Here is our contact information for our program. Again, you can go onto our website, you can email us. My direct line is listed there, and feel free to contact us. And with that, I want to say thank you. And I'll take questions if there are any.
Does anyone have any questions for Jerisa before we wrap up? You can put them in the chat, or you can raise a hand or anything. Okay. Oh, Kathy says it's a wonderful webinar.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
All right, I'm not seeing any questions. I guess you covered everything. It was a wonderful presentation. Thank you, Jerisa.
Thank you for having us. I appreciate it. Appreciate you all having us.
Yeah, thank you everyone for attending. And as Erin said earlier, keep an eye on your inbox and you'll get a link to the recorded webinar if you want to see it in the future. And there is a link on our webpage to all of the webinars we're doing on the ARC of New Jersey programming. So thank you for attending. Our webinars are every Tuesday, same time. We'd love to have you again. And thanks again, Jerisa.
Thank you. Take care.